everyone. This is your girl Angie Winder here on the RTV radio show. I have a special guest here on today with me, Mr. Marcus. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. I'm going to engage him in this conversation. I like to have him at the table with his expertise and just his experience that he's had. We're going to be talking about, we said, returning citizens, regaining their voting rights. I actually was just talking about how just going out and canvassing, how I feel like I have to continue to explain that whole process or explain the bill that had passed. And so it is good to actually see. I actually have shared an article on the Baltimore Sun with his picture on it, so it's kind of really good and going full circle that I get to meet him in person and actually hear, instead of reading an article, but actually hear the experience. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things, so bear with me. It's been like almost a month, I feel like, that I haven't been on here. But I really missed you guys. Make sure y'all share this because we're going to be dropping a lot of information that we want to make sure that gets to the masses and that, other people will understand what's going on. So we have four major things going on. We have a special election. So these are really good opportunities for, returning citizens to play a part in this and to have their voices be heard. But we have a special election. We have and that's in February. And then we have the primary election. Then we have the census. Yes. And then we have, of course, the general election in November that everyone seems to focus on, but they have to understand there are so many things before that. So I will slow down a little bit. But again, Marcus, thank you for being my guest on the day and helping me with this roundtable that we're getting ready to have.
No problem. It's my pleasure.
So I also want to just shout out my co-hosts for just holding it down since I haven't been here. Tasha and Brother Nance. Brother Nance supposed to have been here. So I give him a bad look if he doesn't show when I see him. But let's just talk about as far as the article. I want to go back into... So the article was actually published back in February of 2016, and your picture was on there with the application.
Yes.
All right. And on there it says that more than 40,000 recently released Maryland felons will regain the right to vote in time for this year's election. And it also talks about how it was Governor Hogan had vetoed it, but it was overturned. And so that is actually a good article to read if you have not already. I think it's been shared over 6,000 times on my end. But let's talk about just your experience going back to 2016 when that article came out.
Around that time, I was with an organization called Communities United. Mm-hmm. And I met them through... them doing community work. It was around the time, I believe, that the stuff was going on in Gilmore Homes.
Okay.
I met with a good person, Mr. Percy.
Percy?
Yeah. And it was like we kept going out Annapolis, just pushing, because I was one of those returning citizens. Mm-hmm. And I tried when I came home. I tried to register to vote, and they told me I couldn't because of my record. Mm-hmm. So we went and we pushed, and finally we went out there one last time, and we sat and we waited. We argued with the people, and it was good to see it get passed. Mm-hmm. And now I was real excited that day, and I grabbed the first voters registration form.
I know that's right. I'm gonna give this to you.
I found it, and it just feels good just to be a part of I would say history, and I was glad I can help change something for returning citizens.
So you actually was a part of going to Annapolis and speaking out for.
Yes.
So I didn't get the whole thing because they mainly were just talking about the focus of the bill. So that's actually good. Look at that. I'm really even more excited. And you said Mr. Percy. I got to look him up. But I am aware of Community United. I do know Out for Justice. So it was a a variety of organizations that played a part, and I'm just thankful. Like you said, you helped make history. You played a part in that, so that was actually good.
Yes.
Yes. So I am. So how is I would say your experience when you actually voted? You voted last year,
Yeah. Well,
or did you
actually,
vote that?
no,
Did you vote that
I
for
voted that year.
that year?
That
Yeah,
year.
2016. Yeah.
Um, it was actually my first time voting since I was 18,
Whoa. All right.
and it really felt good. It really felt good. Just to at least attempt to have my voice heard, and at least try to make a positive impact.
Now, how is it when you're talking to like your friends? Because I think we were talking about. I know for me, knocking on doors, canvassing. Some people are like, "Look, I'm a felon, or I got a felony on me, and they can't vote." Like, how are you engaging or advocating for your friends and letting them know, that they can?
Well, first I automatically I pull out the original copy of that
I
article,
know that's right.
and I let them know, like,
Yeah.
you can vote, you can have your voice heard.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter your record now. It's been passed since 2016. A lot of guys, they really don't know because they think they're felons. They can't do it, and by the proof of that article, like you ex felons can vote, and it's very important. Voting is very important.
And I also, we're going to talk about why it's important, but I also want to say that um, just having you be a part of voting and they see that, that's major. But also even knowing that you played a part in helping to get that happen, to pass that bill, from just going out there to Annapolis and rallying for it. That to me speaks volumes. So when we talk about the importance, that's why I was getting ready to go into the importance of voting. Just letting people know that if you're eligible to do that, you can speak out, even if you can't. But you are eligible to make these changes and to actually get people in place that will push for you, to do some extraordinary things. So that's actually like very encouraging and empowering, and actually to have someone that they can relate, with. And to know that, it doesn't have to be someone in a suit and tie to actually do these things. So a lot of times they get people just, ordinary people. If it's a working mom, that's a single mom, it doesn't matter their background, but they need someone relatable. And so that's actually good that you played a part in that.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'm sharing this, and I hope that anyone that's looking at it can share it. You can actually make comments on there. I'll actually share it, or you can call. I've shared it with the phone number on. But we're going to dive in even further about, the importance of voting. Now, you mentioned it, so I'm going to ask you, why do you think it's important to, to vote?
It's real important to vote because you have things that you want done in your community. You have people that's really not doing them, and it's really important to vote because you want to see those changes in your neighborhood, but you also have to vote for the people who you think can make the changes in your neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And I try to vote in everything I could. I want to see a difference. I want to see a change, not only in the city, but just nationwide.
Now listen, I'm over here writing. He just really encouraging me. So I don't know how much you know because we just connected. And shout out to EB because he actually shared it on his page. And then knowing your mother, and your mother said, "Hey, that's my son." It was just so amazing. I mean, when I tell you how much I've been sharing, I just been like, keep sharing it, keep sharing it. Not so much it's like I would need to meet this guy, but I need people to understand that they can vote. And so even when they're on probation, parole and probation, they don't know. Yeah. So it's good that you said you carry that article around and you let them know. And your proof of that, you went to that ballot, and voted. And then we're going to have three elections coming up, right? So that's actually is just so encouraging. The fact that you said it was important because you just need to, need a good representation, basically. Yes. and things that are not being done in your community. Unfortunately, and it's not to knock anyone, I'm not talking about any particular districts, but unfortunately, we have some people that have been in office for a long time.
Yes.
Or we've had people that have come in and they're just not a part of the community. So it's very good, and not only just the importance of voting, but also the importance of being knowledgeable about that candidate.
Yes.
So is that something you did
Yes.
before? Okay.
Anyone I'm voting for,
Okay.
I would listen to like things that they have to say. I would listen to like what their plan is, and if
What plans, or I would say some issues, what are important to you? If you give me like a top three, what would be your top three
number
important
one
stuff?
is crime.
Yeah, I think everybody. Yes.
That's with everybody.
Uh-huh.
Crime. And the biggest thing is when I was coming up, we had recreation centers to go to. Now you have children just out in the street, just doing crazy stuff. They have no outlets. They have no rec centers. Majority of the schools getting closed. Like things like that. They're not giving these kids in these neighborhoods any outlets. So they're forced to turn to the streets and things like that. And, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I have little brothers and sisters. I don't want to see that. And every time I see that, I think, I'm like, man, when I was younger, I used to be at the rec, or I used to play games in the streets, or things like that. And they said these children, they can't do that these days.
Now, I'll just play devil's advocate sometimes.
Okay.
So most recently, the mayor actually reopened the rec centers, like on Saturdays. I think it was about 40. I can't remember the number, but let's just say most of them, right? He opened the rec centers. Do you see it being effective? I mean, kudos to that. I'm just saying.
Yes,
Do you think that most of the residents or the youth, even though it's been on the news, I'm not knocking how it's come out, but there's still something missing or disconnection, because if they're open, are they really utilizing these rec centers? Or is it something still missing from being inside of these rec centers to entice them?
I believe there's something still missing inside the rec centers, because when I was young, every time we went to the rec center, we had things to do. We could play pool, basketball. They would take us on trips. They would. We could go swimming, go to the zoo. I was even in Saturday school at the police station sometimes.
The PAL
The
or
PAL
the
Center,
okay.
yeah, the PAL Center.
Now, I was asked this question. Do you think that PAL centers will really be helpful? I mean, I hear a lot of people say how beneficial it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
At a young age,
and then why?
At a young age, it stopped me from getting in trouble. Because it's always you had that presence of, okay, was the police, I tell you what's right and what's wrong. People that even work in the PALs, they will tell you what's right and what's wrong, and they will not only just tell you, they will let you see for yourself. And it's like that stared me out of trouble for a long time. It wasn't until I got into my adulthood that I started getting in trouble.
So it's actually still encouraging that you brung that up, because when again canvassing, I hear so much, and it's actually helpful. That's why I said I'm really trying to have, if we're going to talk about certain things, I need people there that are a part of that population, or that can have that voice. And so PAL centers, like right now we're talking about the disconnection with the community and police, but for me it seems like if we had the more PAL centers available, maybe that could help bridge that gap between the two. Because like you said, I mean, you said they helped you stay out of trouble. So yeah.
They absolutely did. And
so that is actually it's something I want to touch on that part, but I probably can't. But I do want to say that I would like to see, I will agree that I would like to see the PAL centers there where the officers are interacting with the community, especially our youth. It will probably allow them to have more respect for the officers, as well as the officers just understanding the demographics of that community.
Yeah.
Because I think every community and every neighborhood is different. So I think that would be very helpful. And you said crime, rec centers, and what would you say the third one would be? As far as issues, your top three.
Honestly, crime, rec centers, and
I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, you did.
It's a lot.
Yeah, yes it is. PAL rec centers.
It's okay if you don't have another one.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay. So, but I would say they're probably the two, and then they may say, I hear a lot of people say, talk about jobs, but I would say your crime and like what are we doing for our youth are our biggest thing. So we're kind of on the same page, and a lot of people are feeling the same way. So that is actually, I guess it would tie into, some of the things I would like to talk about after this. And even next week, I'm trying to have just people in the community that there was a young man who said, listen, I did a lot of detrimental things to the community, and now I want to come back and do something positive. And so that we need to embrace. And we need to embrace everyone. So that's the reason why I speak out about returning citizens. I don't like to say anything other than that, but returning citizens. And like I said, if I'm talking to a single mother, I like to have that person at the table. So that's what we do. On this show is either we're spotlighting individuals doing something positive, which you have advocated to help get this bill passed. And so now you're making sure, hey, I will not miss another election. That is actually good to know that it's not that we're just passing and people are like, well, I'm still not going to vote. Like they don't care. I haven't even heard one person who said they didn't care. Not one person. I've been walking the streets. I mean, I've been on the corners. I've been, talking to people that are, just in a different area. But no one has once said they didn't care.
A lot of us, we actually want our voices to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
But some of us don't know we can vote until, like, I would show them that we can, or I show them an article. Mm-hmm. But a lot of them say that because they don't know that they can vote.
Right.
So that's why I try to push it all the time.
I'm pushing it all the time.
You can vote. You can vote. You can vote.
When I shared that, I said, I've been emphasizing. I said, we're almost at 6,000 shares. And I don't even know. Maybe it's more than that. I'm just going off from my page. And that's major because it's like we're trying to get it out to let people know that they can. Of course, some people may not even pay attention of the share, or they didn't read the article, and so they may look at it, okay, well, I'm on parole and probation, and so that's still a stigma from the past. And if you read the whole article, it will tell you that even if you are. But so it's just back to the educational part. Maybe one day, I'm not sure if you would, you asked me, how could you help? Maybe you can help me. We can go out into the community like a forum or something, and we can actually talk about this with the audience, bring the guys together. Because I think having them there and breaking it down and actually seeing someone who actually went through it and not just Miss Angie talking that she probably don't even know what she's talking about. Yeah. So that's actually a good thing. So we'll talk about that as far as a forum. Now, talking about regaining your right to vote, I want to say again and emphasize that we have a special election coming up in February. He got all the dates. He got all the dates. February 4th. Then we have the primary election, but also the special elections, general election. April 28th.
Get them dates, man.
And then we have the general election. November 4th. Dom can't give me all the dates. And then we also have the 2020 census that's going to be going on in April. It's like so much going on. So talking about the special elections for the seat for the late Honorable Elijah Cummings. This primary election where we have our voting for our new mayor. I want to say new mayor, just say mayor, city councils, council president, comptroller. So there are your things we're going to be doing in for April, and then of course November, and president of course. So it's a presidential election, and then November will be of course your general election. That is so important, and that is so important to make sure that we have everybody voting, and that's why I wanted to talk about that. And then also with the census, making sure everyone is counted so that the proper funding will come to our city for the things that we do need, and making sure that people get in position to actually, disseminate that to the community. So it all ties in together. But it definitely ties in together as far as bringing us together to talk about it and to do the education. That's going to be the hardest part because most are thinking November. They're not thinking about the primary. And the primary is important.
Yes.
So that is like my biggest thing. Now, I went to a info session over at Morgan where we were talking about the 2020 census. There are opportunities where you can do the census. You can fill out the census grant, so you can get money for to help get out and disseminate the information about the census. So if you are interested, I can send you some information maybe. But that they also provide jobs. So if you want to go out and do like census taker, they'll pay you. So these are opportunities that again I don't think is really getting out there as much to the community. But these were some of the things that they were talking about at that info session. So I guess the biggest challenge for me is that I won't say that they're not providing these forms, but it goes back to disconnection of us not going to be engaged with this. So if you have any ideas other than us going out in the community, that's the only thing I can think of right now. We need to get out in the street. Because social media is good, but we got to get them there to listen. Like even with this video, but we got to make sure we go out. What do you say? Boots on the ground. We got to get out there and actually. And I know they're going to be doing door knocking, canvassing, but to me, we haven't started yet. So we need that time to actually do it. So I was thinking of the census, and then so what I said, jobs. And we have grant money. That grant money is just to help, like if you want to, feed people or whatever, to get them there to talk about it. So to just give you opportunities to help you engage with the community. And I'm sure everybody knows about the census, but of course, just fair representation. Make sure that we have the funding that we need and that is disseminated into our communities. And so that is. Do you remember doing a census? And it's been every 10 years, but
Yeah.
But it's to me, it still feel like a blur. And I'm like, okay, now they're trying to do like electronic. They're trying something different, but hopefully everyone will be counted properly for it. So. Again, if anyone is tuning in, we are here with Marcus Tolles, yes. And make sure I had it right. And we are talking about returning citizens regaining the right to vote. I have again shared articles from the 2016 article where the bill had passed and anyone can vote. I want to break down now, just take kind of a little bit of time to break down the whole process here. If you are on parole or probation, you can vote.
Absolutely can.
If you are waiting on trial and haven't been convicted, you can vote. You haven't been convicted. And of course, if you're serving, that's when you cannot. But you're released, you're on, anything of that nature, you can vote. And so we want to make sure that people know that and they know the full details. If you have any information, any questions, hopefully the phone number will be on there. But even still, just reach out if you have questions. We'll come out. We'll talk to you. I think Marcus is gonna help me try to do some little community, little advocacy here.
That's right.
Because your work is not done.
Nope. Nah, I need to get the word out.
Yeah. And listen, that was 2016, and yet people still don't really know. So we got a lot of work to do, but it's good. It's good stuff. Right. So any Any questions you have or anything that you want to add? I looked on here also. And listen, I have the form that he was holding up. So I have the voter registration application here. I've been going out and registering voters. I do want to emphasize that if you moved, you still have to fill out a new application. Um, if a name change, so we don't want to give any opportunity for anything to push back. So party affiliation, name change, if it's new, registration, address change. One of the questions that came up was we were getting certified again, but one of the questions that came up was if a person had just been released, do they need to be, re-registered? I say yes, and I also say that if you have doubt, just do it again.
Yeah.
Just do it again. Also, if you are doing a name change, it's important to make sure that at the bottom of this form that we say what your last information was and what the current one was. And then also just making sure that we know the deadline. There are deadlines to registering. This application says it must be postmarked no later than 21 days before an election. If the election for the special election is coming up in February, we got a lot of work to do to make sure that we get into that deadline for anyone that needs to register and to vote in the special. So looking at the date, if you said February 4th, it's going to be 21 days prior to that election. So January-ish beginning. So it's right around the corner, basically. So we have to, if anyone needs to do that special election, that's what we need to do. Making sure that they get registered. And are you? And you know what? It would be kind of good to even get you to get certified. Anybody can get certified. So you go. So you. So you about to get on the team. So listen, we about to get Marcus certified, and he's gonna go out here and register people. But basically, registering your voters. If you are coming around people that you're talking to, instead of just saying, "Hey, yes, you can," you can be like, "Look, I got packs of these." Applications, and here you are. Yeah, we're gonna work that. So, listen, it's a reason that we connected, and I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited about that. And we have a lot of work to do. And 2020 is going to be a busy one and a very important one. And most people are really not as content to the conditions that they're living in right now. And so that's when we have to really push and actually do it. And we won't know. I mean, I hear people say they're just not going to vote for that reason, but we won't know unless you actually do it.
That's not a good enough reason not to vote.
So what are some reasons other than just not knowing? What are other reasons that you see people probably not wanting to vote or register at all?
Majority of the people that say they not going to vote, they just plain out just don't want to vote. Maybe because they're not.
You gotta be. Yeah, we gotta figure out this reason.
Yeah, maybe because they're not up on what's going on, or they just really don't care. But like I tell them, if you want to see a change, it starts with you going out and voting for the people that you think can make the best change, or who you want to make the change. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily don't vote, because your voice needs to get heard too. If you're tired of living the way that you're living, or tired of seeing your community the same, man, get at these people. Tell them what you want to see done.
I know that's right. Get at them.
That's what I do. If I don't like something, look, I need you to change this.
Yeah. And you already saw the power of your voice.
Yes.
So we need people to know that you want this vote. These are questions you ask. I mean, when I'm knocking on doors, there are people that grill me with questions, and I have to give them the answer, especially when I want that vote. Yes. Oh, I thought you was about to say something. But what I was gonna say. So some of the things that we're trying to do right now is we're trying to get into schools, school systems too, because they took the whole civics thing away. But we're trying to get in there. We do know, everyone should know that you can register at 16, but you cannot vote until 18. But it's still a process of at least introducing it to them and letting them know. I think that is very important. So there are some of the things that we're trying to do. Again, maybe an opportunity for you to get into school systems to do that, as well as like community forums that we can just talk to the community. I went on in my district, and I'm talking to the guys. I just didn't want to stand on the corner talking to them. So I said, listen, if I provided a forum, would you come? Now, they may or may not, but at that moment, at that moment, they were interested. And so I have to give them something. So I would definitely, I would not only like to have you talk about it, but also just even know some of the issues or their interest in it, or reasons why they're not. And most times it's just not really being informed that they can. That's been my take.
Yeah.
Okay. And I do, and I want to thank you because you actually, I offered the opportunity, I would say, for you to come on, and you were just like, whatever was needed. And so that's the attitude we really, really need in our city. And so that's good. And sometimes people will, look, what they say, you can't, some people would kind of look at it and like, he's not interested. But the things that you're even sharing on this evening, I wouldn't have known if we didn't talk. And so that's why I know, the importance of talking and actually just trying to gather the information together.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so thank you for that in advance for helping. Speaking of voice, letting your voice be heard, tomorrow, if anyone is available, they are calling for a state of emergency, a call to action rally for the HBCUs is going to be in Annapolis. And just saying, well, here I have. Why is this important? Federal judge found Maryland guilty of having a segregated higher education system in 2017, and Maryland has failed to provide the remedy for that. And so we do have the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland and Coalition for Equity and Excellence in Maryland Higher Education calling for a state of emergency, and they will be doing a call to action rally in Annapolis. So please make sure you come out if you are available to help, to help and to let your voices be heard. As you heard today, that Marcus he went to Annapolis to help get this bill passed, and it was because of one of, something he said, or his presence there, just his consistency, because it seemed like you said you've gone through this
Multiple times.
Yeah, multiple. So tell me the whole process. Like, how long did it take? And
the whole process took about a week because we kept going back and forth every day for a week. We talked. I apologize. His name was Perry. Perry Hopkins.
Okay.
Not Perry Hopkins. So we was going back and forth, back and forth. We was talking to these councilmen, councilwomen, and it was actually me and another guy. We really had a heart to heart with these people. We told them we want to get our voices heard. We've done our time. We want to become productive members of society.
Look at that.
We're willing to change. We learn from our mistakes. All we want is our voice to get heard. And they went. I guess they went and they gave us a chance, and they gave returning citizens a chance to vote. And it's been great ever since to me.
To him, that's why I said I wanted to hear your experience of just being able to vote now. And so, Community United, Out for Justice, we've had a variety of legislators that played a part. It was just a multitude of everyone that played a part in it. And that goes back to the whole Restoring the Village. We talk about everyone having their voices be heard for a common goal and to make sure that there was fairness in this process. So I also want to, let me see if I had this. I'm looking at the article. I just wanted to emphasize in the article, it says that I am overwhelmed with joy. That's from him. I just needed to say that. And I was just like, okay. So it says minutes after override. So reading it is one thing, but to actually see him and see his smile and to hear what he's done in the process, and also to see that he's willing to go further and to allow others to have that same opportunity and experience. But I'll go going back to the. Sometimes I get a little emotional. So it says minutes after the override vote. Convicted felon Marcus Tolles of West Baltimore celebrated in the marble hallway outside the Senate chambers. Says, I am overwhelmed with joy, said Tolles, 27, clutching a Maryland voter registration application. I can finally have my voice heard after doing my time and trying to be a productive member of society. You better. That's like, drop the mic. so yes, I read that part and I was like, I really wish I could meet him. That was last year. I kind of forgot about the part, but I still was on this mission, like share it. And so when a mere share from someone else, and they're like, that's my son, and your mother sent me a friend request. Like it was just really good, and to actually know that you're going to be on here, and you are being you're being a positive mechanism right now. Just allowing your voice to be heard, and we're gonna make sure we share this video, and you're tagging it anyway, so you'll share it too. But making sure that people hear that and they know, and then we'll continue to share the flyer as well. The article as well. So we didn't get any calls today. I hope y'all are listening. And I hope that y'all are looking at the things that you can do to better our communities. And this is one of the ways that we can. And who knows, Marcus might be an elected official one day.
I hope.
He like that whole legislation thing going to Annapolis. But there are definitely other opportunities we can do, and hopefully, I don't know if you're still connected with Community United, but yes. Good. So I was gonna say Community United, Out for Justice, or any of those organizations, continue to stay involved. And we do have the session coming up, and that's another big thing. So we have that 90-day session where we're going to try to pass some bills. So we definitely want to make sure that we be involved there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So let me make sure that we have no questions on here. And if not, we're going to end this show. And I also want to say that when we talk about the crime, we are almost at 300. I try not to emphasize on the negative part of it, but we're at almost, it is a reality. We're almost at 300, for the 5th consecutive year. And we need to figure out what we can do. I do want to shout out to our men that on Mondays they're walking, they're giving resources. So it's not just walking and not rallying or protesting or anything. Every Monday and now Saturdays over East Baltimore, they are going out into the communities. They're walking and they're engaging with the community. I'm not sure if you want to do that one day, but they were just over East Baltimore. Yeah, okay. We're going to get all that information. But every Monday they go out, and it's men. So up to 300, I don't know how many, so many men are walking the community. They are engaging the voters. I'm not voters, sorry. I'm on campaign mode. They're engaging the residents. They're seeing what resources they're in need of, whether it's substance abuse, a job, whatever it is, housing. And the resources are coming from the mayor's office. There is different agencies out there as well. So if someone did need a job, their resources would be right there, or the connection would be there. If they needed substance abuse, sometimes they can take them right away. So there are certain things that they can do, and they're also trying to make sure that they keep it consistent. So on West Baltimore, they do Mondays. They were just over at Park Heights yesterday, and then they were over east. I can't remember exactly where, but they were over east on Saturday. And so Saturday they're coming back over east. So they've been fluctuating between the east and west in certain problem areas that they're having. And engaging their voters. So shout out to all the men. They don't have a group name or anything, but the men that are coming out from all over is faith-based, is returning citizens. We do have, I think I shared the video yesterday from Eric. He will be a guest on the show next week. I'm really excited. He said he's going to bring some guests, so I'm really excited about that, to even hear what he's doing. And again, you said, I did my time. And so we have to make sure that we understand that people, they can make a change and they can make a difference. Learn their lessons. I won't say mistakes, but everyone can have a lesson learned.
Yes.
So,
It's all about you gotta learn from those mistakes and try not to make them anymore.
and I was actually going to say, what would you say to someone that was either in your shoes or just a youth? Because it seemed like youth could be beneficial. What are some positive things you can say to them?
First of all, try to stay out of trouble if you can. Try to stay out of trouble. If you have something that you're good at, stick to it. I've been on the streets. I know about the streets, and it's nothing out there. It's nothing on the streets. So if you got anything positive going on, stick with it. Stick with. I knew I played the drums that I joined the marching band this past summer.
No.
And it's
Wait a minute, which marching band?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Actually,
Okay. You the one saying it.
Yeah, but he ain't trying to plug it.
I know. Oh, okay, all right.
you know.
Okay, but okay, drums.
Everybody's blocking.
You asked a question, Angie, which was good, and I was going to actually want to ask him a similar
Oh,
kind
go
of
ahead.
question,
Go ahead.
which more so I just wanted him to expand on what he was saying, because the thing is I don't think that people want to do wrong per se. Like when they come home, I just feel like they get back around the same group of people, and they feel like, okay, I don't have nothing going on, so they get pulled back into the same behavior. So like, what are some other things? I guess you said like finding out what they're good at and things like that. Just to keep their mind on something else and some other things. So that's what you've been doing? That's what
Yes.
kept your mind focused?
Yes. When I came home, I hit the ground running. All I could think about was I'm not going back in there. I don't want to go back in there. So, but all I knew was the street. So I had to take, like how I was coming outside and standing outside every day, the hustle. Man, take that same drive. I could put that into go finding a job. I can use that into me playing the drums or me just being in the house.
Secretly playing the drums. Silence. I'm kidding. I'm kidding because you didn't want to tell me the name.
No, but that's good. That's good.
Now,
Because he brought up a good point, which is a lot of the guys and girls that's out, involved in things in the streets, that mentality can get them really far on the legal front.
Yes.
Because that's a grind and an initiative to do something, and like you said, if you apply that to something that's on the legal side, you can go really far, go way further than you did before, and not have to look over your shoulder.
yeah, not to look
A
over.
lot of people
Not
think
to look over his
because they
shoulder.
had a person have that mentality.
Yes.
They be like, no, he's gonna be trouble. But actually, a person with that mentality, I hire them faster because I know they're gonna work.
Yeah.
I know they're gonna work, and I know they'll probably be the best work I ever had.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, one quick question, because I think we're going to be wrapping up soon. Now, from the article, it says West Baltimore. You said you're East Baltimore. Now, do you think that changing environments help you to stay away?
Not really,
Not really?
because
Okay.
all the environments are the same, basically. It's like my grandmother always told me, it's not where you live, it's how you live.
Go ahead, Grandma.
So,
he dropping knowledge over here. Wait a minute, so you like 30 now?
yeah, 30.
Because I saw the article said 27. Okay, 30 years old, grandma.
Just turned 30 in
Listen,
January.
when they say you had a praying grandmother, that's real right there. And you will always, I think you will always come back and circle what was instilled in you. Your grandmother's teaching, you said about the PAL Center. There are certain things that was instilled in you at a young age that probably won't allow you to go but too far.
Yeah.
And if it does, you're going to be like, all right, that's it, and you're going to think about some of the things that they said or they've done. But you really helped as far as, like I said, just kind of recap how your two issues, you didn't give me a third one, was crime and rec centers for youth. You said that, just they're just out in the streets with no outlets, how PAL centers played a big part in your upbringing and keeping you out of trouble. And you made a big statement saying that a lot of things you've done when getting in trouble was in your adulthood, like certain things you just kind of ventured off, but having those things to help you stay put was actually helpful. Also wanted to shout out the organization that you work with, Community United, with Mr. Perry Hopkins, and I like the fact, and I always do a recap. I like the fact that you said you want to see a change and be a change. And so I, again, commend you for not only going out to advocate for returning citizens, but also voting. So you didn't just talk that talk. You actually walked it. We know that we have 3 major elections coming up. And we want everyone to play a part and be a part of that and be the change that they want to see.
Yes, get out and vote.
Get out and vote. That's what we're going to end with. Get out and vote. Get out and vote, everyone. Thank y'all for tuning in. And thank you for my special guest on this evening, Marcus Tolles.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. We're going to share this to the moon and back. And we're going to make sure that we get out in the community and maybe having some I would say, interaction that we're going to have. I don't know what it is. We just thought about it just today. But we're going to brainstorm and find some ways to interact with the streets and the people in the community that may not be aware of the social media or just aware of the bills that have been passed, the laws, the things, their rights, And so we want to make sure that we get out. And I would love to have you at that table to talk to me. So we'll talk offline to see how we're going to work it out. I also want to shout out all the people that have been reaching out to me that even been returning citizens. This is about to be major. And I'm just really excited to be just in the passenger seat because God is the leader. But just to make sure that we know that. And so next week we're going to have a great young man to come on. He's going to be talking about some things that he's doing now. And again, just making sure that we understand that it takes everyone. It takes a village. And this is what we're doing each and every Tuesday and every day of the year. We are restoring our village. And the village involves everyone, including our returning citizens. Please make sure y'all go out and vote. Please make sure y'all share. And thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Marcus, for having me. Do you have anything that you want to get out as far as to contact you or no? No? Not really.
I'm tagged in it, so
we're gonna have he's tagged. All right, so thank you again for tuning in. See you all next Tuesday, same time, same place.